Hello and welcome to the Comeback Mechanics September 2025 Gym Leader Challenge Tournament. My name is Cody Hope, and I'm casting for you this feature match between Chris Choquette with Hydro Pump and Mark Zamora, also with Hydro Pump. The Comeback Mechanics are a competitive team based in Dallas, Texas, and this matchup is from our monthly GLC tournament. As always, huge shout out to our sponsor, Lone Star Pack Breaks in Carrollton, Texas, who so generously provide pricing for all of our tournaments.
Join Lone Star Pack Breaks live on Twitch Wednesday through Friday nights to rip into the latest Pokemon sets in English and Japanese, plus One Piece, Weiss, Union Arena, Final Fantasy, and more. LSPB ships anywhere in the U.S., or if you're local, choose in-store pickup at their shop in Carrollton, Texas. Pickup orders are usually ready 1 to 2 days after a stream. Plus, if you're a Pokemon player, don't miss their standard tournaments every Wednesday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. Check out the links below to get in on the action.
Huge thanks again to Lone Star Pack Breaks for sponsoring the team. Getting into the games here, we got a Hydro Pump mirror here between Chris and Mark. Both players are playing similar deck lists. They're playing kind of the standard Hydro Pump. We're trying to get a Rain Dance set up, either the Excalibur or the Frostmoth, and then we're trying to attack with the Wailord. There's a couple key differences between the deck lists here. We see, for example, the Remoraid being played being different between the two players here. That Octillery being prized is a little tough for Mark, so we'll see how that comes into play. That draw find with the Abyssal Hand, very, very relevant. Some other kind of things to note, Mark is playing the Hisuian Basculegion as well as the Rapid Strike Starmie. Those are kind of some extra attackers that Mark has access to try to get big knockouts here towards the end of the game, while Chris is playing things like he's playing this new Huntail from Destined Rivals, which has the Diver's Catch ability, where if a water Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack, you can put all the water energy that was attached to it into your hand instead of the discard pile. So I think that's an interesting kind of dichotomy of what do you do when your Wailord does get knocked out. Mark is saying, I'm going to use Basculegion to take a knockout, shuffle all that water energy back into the deck, while Chris is saying, I'm going to put all that water energy back in my hand and I'm just going to do it again. I think it's some very interesting kind of differences here, and I'm excited to see how this game plays out. We do see that the Buddy Buddy Poffin has been played. Mark is going to search his deck for 2 Pokemon with 70 or less HP. So going to be interesting to see what he grabs here. Normally, we would definitely be seeing the Remoraid, but you might not be since the Octillery is in the prizes. I imagine we could see like the Vulpix. The Vulpix would be a great grab. And no, just still going to grab Frigibrax Remoraid. Makes a lot of sense. And yeah, they're both playing different Remoraids here. Something that I think is kind of worth of noting to those of y'all out here is if you haven't already, I would really recommend swapping out your basics for 70 HP or higher basics because of the Raging Bolt out of the Dragon archetype, where it does 30 damage for each energy attached to it. So for 2 energy, you can do 60. You can knock out this Remoraid or knock out the Sobble on Mark's side, versus on Chris' side, you can't knock out that Remoraid. Now, to be fair, the Remoraid on Mark's side has a much better attack. That Ion Pool can discard a stadium, can be a little relevant, especially if there's something like a Parallel City in play. We see that Professor's Letter is going to grab 2 water energy, and big TM evolution here. I'm such a fan of the TMs in Gym Leader Challenge. Evolution is going to be great for Mark here. He's going to get to kind of turbo out his Rain Dancers. He gets to go into the Archibax and going to get to go into the Frostmoth here. So already got a lot of redundancy set up. Oh no, he's instead choosing the Sobble. That's super interesting, I think. So could be going into the Drizzile on the next, or going to go into the Drizzile here. No, he is not going to get to do Shady Dealings, but I think he's setting up that Inteleon to get to do Shady Dealings for 2 on the next turn. Very interesting here. Ooh, and Chris is going to slam down Hex Maniac. That is one that Chris is playing that Mark is not, and that is going to shut off all of Mark's abilities until his next turn. And unfortunately, there's nothing else Chris has. He's going to attach that Pot Helmet to the Veluza, and he's just going to pass. Unfortunately, Mark has no abilities this turn, so I don't think he's going to be doing too much either. Something else to note here, you may be noticing some lighting issues. We did just get a lot of new camera equipment, so we're still kind of working out the bugs with that. So apologies for any kind of visual issues you may be seeing this video. Artie's going to see an attach of a water to Veluza, and then the Acerola's Premonition. He's going to take a look at Chris's hand, and he's going to draw 3 cards because there's 3 trainers in them. That Superior Energy Retrieval, Scoop Up Net, and the Max Potion. Max Potion is a very interesting addition. Heal all damage from one of your Pokemon, and then if you do, you discard all the energy from it. So, kind of interesting because then you can Rain Dance it all back into play. And unfortunately, since there's no abilities, Mark is just going to pass. And the in! Oh, could not have been a turn too soon. Chris is going to reset his hand, draw a fresh 6 cards, and hopefully it's going to be a couple playable ones. And Chris is going to be able to get into the game. That is just excellent for him. So that Hex Maniac did do what it wanted to do. Mark did not have a productive turn at all. He did a lot of nothing. And so now Chris is going to got that extra turn he needed, and I think he may be able to work his way back into the game. But let's take a look at these 6 cards before we get ahead of ourselves. We see that the Superior Energy Retrieval made its way back into the hand, and we did find Level Ball as well as this Brooklet Hill. Unfortunately for Chris, both players get to make use of this Brooklet Hill, and this is the first time Chris is searching his deck, so let's take a look at that Matty map, and ooh, the Octillery being prized for both players is kind of hilarious. But we also see that Chris has the Frostmoth prized, so good news, that does get to influence, which basic he gets. Probably has to go for that Frigibrax here. Call it our Matty Map house rule. It's a house rule that we have here with the team where the first time you search your deck, you get to take a peek at those prizes. Really nice for me in coverage where I'm not sitting here going, why aren't you making this play? Well, it's because it was sitting over there in the prizes, buddy. Like, come on. And yeah, we're going to see that the Sobble is going to get grabbed from Chris's Brooklet Hill. She's going to see an attach to the Veluza, and I imagine we might see the Level Ball here, or I think Chris could be saving the Level Ball for next turn, go into Drizzile, and then grab Buddy Poffin to then get more Pokemon set up. But no, instead just going to Level Ball now, and I imagine we're going to see the Frigibrax coming down. Also, very notably, both players have decided to play different Frigibraxes. Chris has really chosen all of his basics to respect the Raging Bolt from the Dragon archetype, while Mark has chosen different ones that have kind of different attacks here. Good news for this specific game, it's not going to matter. I just think it's really interesting from a deck building perspective. We're going to see the Brooklet Hill gets 3 charge counters on. Oh, no. Just using the Brooklet Hill to get the Wailmer down into play. Hopefully it's going to try to end up as that Wailord. Which, I mean, this Wailord has been such an excellent addition to the water archetype. Has really catapulted it into, I would argue, tier 1 status here. Maybe even tier 0 status. Like, the Hydro Pump deck is just so good. Getting to do 50 damage for each water energy attached just allows you to knock out everything. And the Wailord's got 240 HP, so it doesn't get one-shotted back. Like, this card is crazy. We are going to see the Field Blower getting rid of the Brooklet Hill as well as that Pot Helmet. So these Veluzas are going to be punching each other here pretty soon. It's going to be Hydro pumping back and forth here. And you're going to see the Evo Soda. And we're going to, if interesting, evolving gotta double check the reading of this. The Evo Soda doesn't put the evolution card in the hand. It evolves the Pokemon. And I think the only really good Pokemon for Mark to pick is going to be the Frigibrax. He can't choose the Wailmer. He could choose the Remoraid. We know that Octillery is in the prizes. Could choose Drizzile, but that's not going to do anything because the Octillery has to evolve from the hand. So has to go into that Archibax here. And so very interesting. That's why you see something like an Evolution Incense over Evo Soda in a lot of decks. And you'll see like Chris is not playing the Evo Soda. He is just playing the Evolution Incense versus Mark is playing both. He's playing both the Evo Incense as well as the Evo Soda. He just wants as many access to evolutions as possible. Also makes sense since Mark is playing 2 more evolution lines, the Basculegion and the Starmie, while Chris is not. So makes sense you just want a little bit of extra access to that. We are going to see the Versus Seeker going to pick up that Arven again. He's going to Arv again to grab some more cards. Yeah, a little bit of a different Arvin joke this time. And I imagine we're just going to see, Dive Ball's a nice one, and no tool card. Very interesting. Yeah, the Evo's already been played, and I guess the Float Stone is either in the hand or it's in the prizes. I'm not exactly sure, but no Float Stone getting grabbed here, and those are the only two tool cards in Mark's deck. And so, you're just going to see the Splash Energy getting attached to the Veluza. The Splash Energy is really nice. When the Pokemon it's attached to is knocked out, you can put that Pokemon back into the hand. So, gets to recycle that Veluza if it gets knocked out. And the Veluza has a really great ability where when it gets knocked out, that Fillet Memento allows you to move 2 water energies to one of your benched Pokemon. So, really nice economy that Mark is getting to kind of generate here. And he's going to knock out Chris's Veluza. So Chris, all that water energy put into play was for naught. So Chris is on the back foot here for sure. But this Irida is going to very much help with that rare candy Inteleon. And we already see 2 water energy on the Sobble. So because of that Fillet Memento. So now Inteleon does get to Aqua Bullet here, which is fantastic. Mark was unable to get his Manaphy down, so Chris is going to get to hit the bench for 20. Really nice. Can maybe soften up that Whalmer. Maybe even do something like soften up the Remoraid or something to try to get an extra knockout with some bench damage. We see off of the Drizzle, going to grab Teammates Dive Ball, and this makes a lot of sense. Chris hasn't played a supporter yet, doesn't have a supporter in his hand, and yeah, this is just awesome. Yeah, going to Dive Ball for the Archibax. So next turn, Baxcalibur should be coming down. And let's see if Chris plays the Teammates here. He's shuffling up the deck, could be just using it to think. Or could maybe have a different supporter, or just maybe wants to save the Teammates for next turn. Oh no, sorry, he played the Irida this turn. My fault, he played the Irida. So going to be saving this Teammates for next turn, or any turn that he gets a knockout. I don't know if he is going to be getting knocked out this turn. I think Veluza might be knocking it out. Nope, he's knocking out the Veluza. He's going to put 20 on the Frostmoth. So, trying to answer that Rain Dance here. He's going to take a prize card. Veluza will go back in the hand thanks to the Splash Energy. And Veluza is going to then move 2 of those water energies to a different Pokemon here. I wonder what he's going to put it on. Could put it on his Drizzile, just Aqua Bullet right back. But instead, just going to put it on the Whalmer here. Now, this is an interesting spot for Mark. It's going to depend on if he has the Baxcalibur, right? If he has the Baxcalibur, he can promote the Whalmer pretty easily, but I don't think he does. So he's promoting the Remoraid, so that way he can Ice Dance with the Frostmoth onto the Whalmer, maybe try to get a knockout there, but then he's got to find a pivot. But no, he has the Evo Incense, so he's got to pick. Does he want Baxcalibur? But I think he's just going to grab the Wailord here. No, going to grab the Shady Dealings Inteleon. Even better. And then search his deck for any 2 trainer cards. So both players are kind of getting to do their thing. They're searching the deck. They're getting attacks off. Love to see a kind of back and forth game here. Now, Chris is in a very vulnerable position where if Mark is able to gust KO this Archibax, Chris is going to be very far behind, and it's going to be very difficult for him to win the game. But if Mark just kind of punches this Inteleon, or even if he knocks out the Inteleon, I think Chris is in an okay spot, because if he can go into Baxcalibur, he's going to be chilling. And there is the Float Stone there. Interesting. Guess Float Stone was already in the hand previously. And then we're just going to see Irida to grab Wailord, Capacious Bucket. So bang, big Wailord, Capacious Bucket for 2 water. That's going to be 4 water on this Wailord, meaning that this Wailord is going to be knocking out the Inteleon. Big 210 damage. So yeah, Mark is in a very, very strong position here. He's got his Wailord set up, and now, even if Chris can knock out this Frostmoth or knock out the Archibax, or heck, even both in one turn, doesn't matter. This Wailord is set up and it's going to be attacking. So Chris needs to try to find a way to knock out this Wailord very, very soon. And yep, just 2 more energy on the Wailord. Imagine we'll just see a big KO here. And good news is Chris has access to that Teammates, so next turn he can try to get something going here. And notably, he did not grab the Octillery off of his prize card, so that's a little unfortunate. And Dive Ball is going to grab that Baxcalibur. So now Mark has two Rain Dancers set up. So I think for the rest of the game, Mark is going to be able to accelerate energy in some form or fashion. And then, yeah, like very, very good spot for him. Let's see what else he's got. Yeah, just re-bench the Veluza. Makes a lot of sense. So now Mark has his next attacker set up. The only thing he's missing is his draw engine. Can he get the Octillery? And he's keeping that card very close to the chest, not letting me take a peek at all. Chris found his Wailord, but unfortunately, no Wailmer in play, so a bit of a dead draw there. And good news that Remoraid has the Floatstone, so can pivot out of it should Chris find the attacker that he needs. Unfortunately, he's got just supporters in his hand. I mean, Superior Energy Retrieval gets this water energy back, so it can, we can maybe get an attack off this turn with, I don't know, like our Veluza. Maybe even could try to go into the Kyogre. I think there's only 2 water in the discard, so I don't think Kyogre can take a knockout here. Could Kyogre the bench would be kind of cool, but I don't think there's enough energy for that. And yeah, I think I see Wailmer is getting grabbed off of this teammates. Yeah, not looking great for Chris. He's going to have to kind of take another turn off to try to set up. Here he has the Wailmer, and it was the Baxcalibur. So this is kind of nice. Next turn can go into the Wailord. I think Chris might just leave this Remoraid in the active and pass. Yeah, with only 2 water energy, I don't think going in with like Buster Tail is going to be good enough here, because then Mark just knocks it out and you kind of lose, right? And wow, he found the Octillery off of the prizes. Excellent job for Mark here. He now has everything set up. He's got his draw engine, he's got his attackers, he's got his energy acceleration. The name of the game here is just, can Mark find enough energy to take knockouts? And big in resetting both players' hands. For Chris, that's kind of a double-edged sword. He had that Wailord in his hand, wanted to evolve the Wailmer, but that was kind of it in his hand. So at least now he's going to get 5 clean cards. Well, I say clean. It is in, so he could draw back into the Wailord. That is an option, right? So, maybe Chris will just get everything he wants off of this in. That is kind of the danger of these ins in the early. And he does. He gets the Wailord back. Let's go. Fantastic. That's kind of the downside of in versus like Iono, right? Is that with Iono, you guarantee your opponent does not see the cards that were in their hand. And in the early game, that's very good because there's specific cards they want to find. In the late game, it can be a little bad because if they're digging for a specific card, you're getting them closer to it. But here in like the early game, the in is a lot worse because, Chris drew into the card he wanted, which was the Wailord. Plus, he got a bunch of new cards like that Capacious Bucket and a Water Energy. So, this was a great exchange for Chris. He gets to really kind of go off this turn. And he got the Ball Guy. Man, dude, this is great. This is we could not ask for a better series of cards. Awesome. Absolutely rips here. Ooh, we're going to see a Escape Rope here. That's an interesting one. Mark is going to choose to toss up his Octillery, which the Baxcalibur can just knock out here. You know what? That does make sense here. Chris doesn't have the ability to attack with the Wailord. The Wailord needs 4 energy cards, and he only has access to, to 3. He has the attach for turn plus these 2, and here comes the Ball Guy. Gonna allow Chris to grab some more Pokemon out of his deck, by grabbing all these different ball cards. We see Nest Ball. He does not need the Hisuian Heavy Ball. We do know that. Or no, do we know that? I don't think anything crazy was prized here. No, the Frostmoth was prized. Yeah, I don't think this Hisuian Heavy Ball's doing anything. I could be wrong, though. I can't remember if it was the Snom or the Frostmoth, but I see. Just going to use the Heavy Ball as discard fodder for the Quick Ball. That makes a lot of sense. We saw that the Nest Ball was already used. So we see that the Vulpix is going to be the grab here. Now, this makes a lot of sense. You could Buster Tail knock out the Octillery, and that does get you a prize card, but then Mark will just Wailord kill your Baxcalibur. So by doing this, by getting the Alolan Vulpix, he's going to retreat into the Vulpix, use Beacon to find some evolution cards, and then can maybe just, try to one-hit KO the Wailord back. I think that is Chris's route to victory here, is if he can one-shot Mark's Wailord with his Wailord, he will win the game. But if Mark gets to knock out this Excalibur or the Wailord before Chris can set up his Wailord, I think he's going to lose the game. Chaotic Swell is the stadium. That is another difference between their two decks. Chris's stadiums are Brooklet Hill and Chaotic Swell. Chaotic Swell is a great proactive stadium. Now if Mark wants to play one of his stadium cards, it's just not going to do anything, which is really nice. Versus Mark is playing Rough Seas as his stadium here, as a way to heal the Wailord, which is really nice. We see that the Vulpix is going to use that beacon attack, and he's going to grab this Huntail, this new card from Destined Rivals, where if a Pokemon gets knocked out, a water Pokemon, he can put the water energy attached to it back into his hand. Really cool as a way to, once this Wailord gets knocked out, Chris will already have the energy he needs to then get an attack off with this Kyogre, which I think is really, really slick. So Chris planning for the future a little bit and getting to show off some hot new tech for the camera, which we love to see. And now let's just see if Mark can really slam the door shut on Chris. That is kind of where we're at. I think Mark is just fine taking another knockout. He is very much ahead on prize cards here. So just continuing to take knockouts isn't bad. And especially considering he's going to get to use some shady dealings here. I imagine he might even try to go for Boss. I think Boss would be a great grab off of this Drizzile or, Guzma. Yeah, there you go, Guzma. And I think this is going to slam the door shut for Chris. Boss's orders, yeah. I don't want the Guzma. I can just retreat off of this Octillery. I got a Float Stone. I'm going to save the Guzma for when you strand my Excalibur in the active, right? There you go. So yeah, the Boss's orders, and I think, he's going for the Excalibur. That makes sense. The Wailord has 2 energy on it, meaning that, a third energy doesn't do anything. And we know that Huntail would be coming down. Well, I guess that doesn't matter too much. But with Huntail coming down next turn, I think you can kind of beacon again, go up with the Wailord. I mean, Chris is not out of it. Because the Wailord is still in play, if Chris goes attach, beacon, but Mark has the Inteleon in his hand, so he can grab Guzma. So, yeah, and Tate and Liza's great to reset the hand, but for Chris, that's not good enough. He didn't disrupt Mark's hand, which means Mark is going to knock out your Wailord on the next turn, which means you lose the game. I guess if Chris can get down his Veluza again and he gets the Excalibur pieces set up, he can try for something. And okay, Snom is pretty good, but we know the Frostmoth is in the prizes. That's not good enough. That's tough. This is really tough for Chris. I don't think he has a way to do anything here. And with Mark down to 2 prize cards, I think Chris is kind of cooked at this point. He's not going to get a Rain Dancer down next turn. The only thing that he can kind of hope for is that Mark doesn't know that the Frostmoth is prized and he decides to boss KO the Snom, right? If he goes, here's the good news here, is that the Float Stone is gone. So Guzma doesn't quite do it because Mark doesn't have a free pivot. So that's something. That's something here. Okay, I can see it. Although I think Mark has some ways out. No, he doesn't. Mark is not on the escape rope. So yeah, you could grab Guzma here, but you're going to need some more water energies if you want to pivot out of this Wailord. So maybe Chris has bought himself a turn, maybe, but even then, it doesn't really matter because he didn't get the attach down on the Wailord. So that's kind of it. He didn't attach for turn. If he was able to get an attach for turn, we could see attach for turn Hydro Pump. But currently as it stands, we can't do that. And I just think Mark just punches this Vulpix, and that's just we just don't care. Guzma Ultra Ball's fine. I don't think any of these Pokemon have free retreat. But Mark is on the Staryu. The Staryu has free retreat, but the bench is full, so that's not really an option here. So I wonder what the Guzma is going to be for here. I think you're fine just punching the Vulpix, considering how this board state has gotten set up. But I guess Mark kind of notices that the Snom is down. He doesn't know the Frostmoth is prized, so he could go Guzma, pull up the Snom. And then knock it out because the Huntail is down. Going after the Wailord actually I think makes less sense because you can't knock out the Wailord, or even if you do, you put the 2 water in the hand, and then if he has Frost Moth, he can just like attach that water energy somewhere else. And there, yeah, I guess here's the thing though, is that currently Wailord cannot knock out the opponent's Wailord. It needs 5 energy in order to do that, and Mark is going to need to attach retreat out of these Pokemon because the Float Stone is gone. So like Mark needs to have 2 energy, and we've already seen Capacious Bucket and Professor's Letter out of him. So, and he's not playing anything like a superior energy retrieval. Oh, was there already a water on that Inteleon? Huh, my bad. Or yeah, never mind. He's gotten out of the Inteleon. So I guess, does he have another water to punch the Wailord? Or I think that was a bit of an oversight. I think Mark forgot that the Float Stone was gone, or didn't realize he couldn't knock out this Wailord. So bit of an oversight here. Rather than going to 1 prize card, he's instead wasted a little bit of a turn by punching this Wailord, and now, like, you know, he didn't really do anything. He gave Chris a free turn, so this is going to be good for Chris. He unfortunately, although I wish he could capitalize on it. I really wish he could. He needs some Pokemon recovery to try to get this Frigibrax down. He needs to get the Frigibrax down. He needs to, well, even if he did last turn, he's already used the rare candy to put the to put that Inteleon in play earlier in the game. There's no way, I think, for Chris to get a Rain Dancer set up in any amount of time. Even if he benches Frigibrax here, Mark knocks out your Wailord, you go Archibax, and then you lose, right? The that Frostmoth being prized really hurt here. I guess there's a world where, no? Yeah, you can't even like Aqua Bullet with Inteleon to try to be cute here. I think your only hope is, like, can you boss up Mark's Octillery and then hope that he's just out of energy and is like loses the game because of that? Like, that's an option here, but you know, Mark has plenty of recovery cards. He's got Ordinary Rod, he's got Super Rod, so like you're not decking him out. I guess you're just kind of hoping to keep him stalled for long enough that you can go Frigibrax, Archibrax, Baxcalibur, knock out your, you know, then Gust again, knock out your Wailord. But like, it's just, I think there's too many things Chris needs to go right for him. And now that Mark is going down to 1 prize card remaining, Chris has no attacker even close to ready. I think we may see a Powder Snow for 10, you know, defiant until the end. That's what we would love to see. Oh, actually, hold on. Hold the phone. I got ahead of myself. Powder Snow puts the opponent to sleep. Okay, you know what? Powder Snow put it to sleep. That this could be it. This could be just what Chris needs. Let's see it. Let's see the die roll. Will it be heads? It is! The Wailord is going to wake up, and we're just going to see a Hydro Pump for knockout on this Snom. Extra energy. Bang! 260. Get that Snom out of here. I'm going to kill it, you know, 5 times over. But that is going to do it for today's game. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to do all of the things. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hey, y'all, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. It really means the world to all of us here at the Comeback Mechanics that we were able to meet such an incredible milestone. And with that, my name's Cody, and I'll see you next time.